Salutations, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. V back with another casted game of Age of Empires 3 on one of my favorite maps. It's not quite as good as the pie map we saw last week, but it is still quite excellent. And once again, we are featuring two of the best players this game has to offer, certainly top 50. So let's dive right into the introductions as I follow this Ethiopian explorer around the map. In the southeast corner, we have in the color red as the Ethiopians Den 10. Otherwise known as Dennis, certainly a very high-level player. I don't know if I've seen him play many of the African civs. Maybe I've just been missing it. Maybe he has become an African master. But certainly always great to see Dennis. Very excellent stuff from him. And in the northwest corner of the map, playing in the color blue as the Haudenosaunee, we have Boo. That is not a name I'm familiar with, though could just be one of the top players under a new name, who knows? But in the top 50, I think he's ranked 37 currently, so very, very good. Gonna be stiff competition for our boy Dennis. And Haudenosaunee, as he picks up, what does he got here? Ooh, 85 food, very nice. You know, Haudenosaunee has been, since the early days, since the dawn of time, when it was first created, it has been a very, very high-level civ. In fact, there was a time when it was the greatest civ in the game, and it was banned from many tournaments, along with Ottoman. Now, since then, they are not quite as OP as their glory days, but the main reason I wanted to watch this was A, high-level play, my favorite, and B, I want to see if Haudenosaunee is still A-tier material or if they have slipped. And let's take a look at Boo's deck. Very standard Haudenosaunee deck. He's got some units, a lot of resources, quite a few upgrades, and the only Age 1 card is the 3 Villagers, which is on the way now, along with the Age Up with the Wise Woman. Meanwhile, Den 10 playing as Ethiopia, sending the Trinity card, which sends 2 Villagers and 1 Abun. Now, of course, African civs, very, very different, even more flavor than the native civs with the livestock market and all of the different mechanics. But you're going to see 2 really interesting unit compositions here that I'm excited to see how they measure up. You know, you have Gaskenya and Shotel Warriors versus Kanya Horsemen and those very, very famous Tomahawks. Meanwhile, it looks like Boo is going to be getting down his first trading post in transition. Haudenosaunee certainly love trading post play, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him attempt to take at least this half of the line, maybe be bold enough to go for Dennis's half as well. But he has 12 Villagers on Age Up, Den going up with 13, though he is going to be a substantial amount behind Boo in his Age Up. Den only about a quarter of the way there. Meanwhile, Boo is about to click up in just a couple of seconds, getting his market down and pulling all of his Villagers, well, not all of them, but some of them off of wood and going back to food. I think his second card will be a critical give on what he is planning. Let's see if we see some of that classic Haudenosaunee aggression. What is it going to be? First card is in, and it is the 4 Kanya Horsemen. Yes, we are going to see early raids and the War Hut coming down on the critical choke point. Another reason I love this map is because it has this big middle point with a hunt and a coin mine, and it's where the 2 trading posts meet. And this is often where the bloodiest fighting takes place because it is dead center in the map, and it is the easiest way for either player to access the other's base. But we do have a scouting Gentle Pete the pet bear. I don't know how he relays the information back to the tribe, maybe in a series of grunts and roars that they can somehow understand. But the 4 Kanya Horsemen probably going to be coming out to this forward base, and let's see what Dennis has in mind. Just now clicking up, very, very fortunate. He just got up, and the silver mine going down. The arsenal wagon's got to go down soon, or it might fall victim to these Kanya Horsemen. Let's see if they try to siege it down. Yes, they are going to do some siege damage. Times 4 in the foundation phase, but not going to take it down. It's far too quick for that. Are going to pick off a Villager here, though. Let's see. Yes, 1 Villager going down along with one Kanya Horseman, a very, very nice trade. And this is such a good shipment. These Kanya Horsemen, very expensive. So to get 4 in an age 2 shipment, very good. And now we have the Tomahawks coming out as well. 6 Tomahawks. That must be another shipment. No, okay, so these are trained Tomahawks. Oh, they're 5 with the War Chief. Excuse me. I mistook Rata Al-Mizclara for a Tomahawk, but doing lots of great harassment here in Dennis's base. A lot of vills having to be belled up, and they are getting buffed by that War Chief. The Town Center is trying to take out this War Chief. He does not want these units to be continuously buffed, and he is going to pick him up 100 XP for Dennis. So a really nice job there, though many of his vills were belled up for quite a bit of time, and it's going to stunt his economy by quite a bit. 16 vills for Boo, and only 14 for Dennis as Ethiopia. He is now sending the prize bull, has already sent the 700 influence and starting to make some gas Kenya. I thought I saw some gas Kenya in queue. Yes, okay, so he has made some. Certainly not going to be enough to deal with this army currently out from Boo. And Boo, actually not a lot going on right now. More Tomahawks coming out. Did send 5 villagers, so very, very good economic boost for him, up to 22 and still only 14 for Dennis. This pressure has proven to be very effective, even going to take out this mountain monastery, an excellent pickup for Boo, and I love that he's not pushing in too far. He's not getting overly greedy. He's taking out the peripheral buildings and then pulling out. Only a couple of gas Kenya there to ward him off, though he has been taking a lot of TC fire, which is a decent trade because it means that a lot of these Ethiopian villagers have been belled up, and we can see that in the herding. The herding starting to get a little bit sloppy here from Dennis. We can't blame him. He has been under a lot of pressure. He's starting to make more gas Kenyas, and another shipment is now in. Let's see what he goes for. More gas Kenya, which I think is the right move. But now with Ayanna coming out from Boo, we're seeing a stronger and stronger Haudenosaunee composition. And from what I'm seeing so far, ladies and gentlemen, I think Haudenosaunee is still a very, very excellent civ. I don't think anybody was doubting that per se, but I just don't think that Haudenosaunee have been appreciated as they used to be. They used to be feared worldwide, and now they've kind of fallen to the shadows, but they are still a civ to be reckoned with. Look at this, 16 Ayanna coming out, along with a decent amount of Tomahawks for anti-cav. Not that Den has any. And now the Shotel Warriors coming out, and look at this, spending the influence to get the Order Bestieros, and this is exactly what he needs. They are going to outperform these Ayanna, but there is a substantial mass, and now the pop is coming out. The Shotel Warriors trained along with the shipment, trying to pull off a pincer here. Bestieros and gas Kenya coming around, and the Shotels trying to cut them off, and this is really nice work here from Den, but the mass from Boo is proving to be very, very powerful. And the Kanya Horsemen trying to get some harassment in from the back, but the gas Kenya is there to block them. These Bestieros very, very valuable, and Dennis knows he needs to protect them, but more Tomahawks coming in now. And though the Bestieros are getting a decent trade, these Ayanna are so effective in mass, and they are going to be dealt with. And although Dennis does take out the War Chief, it is going to be another military victory for Boo. He's going to be able to continuously harass the base, and once again, Dennis's villagers have been belled up, only 17 at this point compared to 27 from Boo. So a huge lead on top of this pressure, and all of the cards currently are in Boo's deck. Although the Shotel Warriors doing a really nice job cleaning up these remaining Ayanna, even if they all die, I think that was a really excellent trade for Haudenosaunee. More gas Kenya coming out, and let's see, he's got Order Bestieros. Was that not an influence? No, that cost influence, right? Help me in the comments, guys. You know I don't know African civs. I barely know native civs. But what I do know is Haudenosaunee is doing an excellent contain here. And the Ayanna numbers have already been rebuilt somewhat. More Tomahawks, although he has cleaned up the remainder of the Kanya Horsemen. That's going to be great for Dennis. And there is no corral for Boo, so he can count on no cavalry at least for a time. And now Boo's sending 600 wood. He's already sent the 7 Ayanna, the 6 Tomahawks, the 4 Kanya, the 5 Vills. So there are going to be no more big, powerful Age 2 shipments. Now, Age 3, that changes, and a lot more powerful shipments become available. But for now, it looks like Dennis has stemmed the bleeding, although the just the persistence of Boo has me really impressed. He's continuing to be effective with his army while also conserving them and not just throwing them away to Dennis's army. And I don't know what Dennis is trying to do here. I think he might be a little bit conflicted. Does he want to push out against Boo, or does he want to continue to ward off these attacks? More Vestieros coming out, and this fight looking a lot more even now. I think it might sway in the advantage of Dennis. Yes, he is outnumbered, but his units are far superior. More Tomahawks here coming to reinforce, and those two Kanye, I am wrong, they're still alive. Where have these guys been hiding? And Shota Warriors also going around for Dennis, so really nice move by Dennis. He wants to put pressure on his opponent because he knows his opponent is pressuring him, and so far, Boo has not had to deal with any harassment of any kind. He's currently at 32 vills to only 20 for Dennis, so a substantial economic lead for Haudenosaunee. But now that the, what is this called? The Palace Builder is out for Dennis, he's going to have a big bit of infrastructure, which will do a significant job at protecting this back hunt, which I think is a good move for him. Probably not where he wants that building to go. I think he'd much rather put it forward and claim future resources. But at this point, he cannot afford to have this hunt be bothered. Meanwhile, lots more Tomahawks coming out, more Aena, and let's see if Boo's continuing to add on, even getting some of the CDBs from the Kree outpost. Nice pickup from him. He now has 3, oh wait, no. He almost had 3 trading posts, but it looks like this trading post might go down here. He's pulling his units. Is he going to be able to catch those Shotels before they take it down? Shotel's not the best siege attack, only 11, but this is in foundation mode. Let's see if he catches it. It's going to be close. It's going to be very close. Oh, Dennis, he pulls back. Okay, I wonder if he had kept on and just sacrificed those 5 Shotel warriors, it might have been worth it. But now they are going to be caught and killed, so he doesn't have to worry about that harassment. Might even be able to send, yeah, there it is, sending one of those CDBs to go fix that trading post. And since it popped out right here, he's not going to lose too many villager seconds. A good choice by Boo. More of the CDBs coming out, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him opt for some of these Kree trackers as well. Would certainly be better at kiting than his Aena currently, although they would be more expensive. And now that he knows that his army is, now that he knows that these Shotels are kind of holding up the Haudenosaunee army, it looks like Dennis is going to move out, try to get some damage done of his own. There's really not a lot of siege attacks, in this army. More Shotel warriors coming out, so 3 unit compositions for each side, though the military count is probably substantially in favor of Boo. He has 38 vills to Dennis's 25, so the vill gap is staying quite consistent. At least it's not getting larger for Ethiopia. Even able to kill one of those Kree CDBs, but now it looks like Haudenosaunee getting the 4th trading post down. He's already researched the stagecoach upgrade, probably did that with the wood coming in and his 700 initial wood. So resources are pouring in for Haudenosaunee right now, and Ethiopia, they need a substantial military victory, or I think this is very soon going to get out of reach. Might lose his explorer here. I'm going to get some water before this really takes off. Not as many Aena, which means that the Bestieros, if they are handled well, will do a decent job of kiting these Tomahawks, except they are crossbows, not quite as good as, say, a skirmisher unit at dealing with those Tomahawks. And there are enough Aena to just keep them pinned and continuously harass them, but there are quite a few Order Bestieros here for Dennis. He's gotten a good number of them up, 21 now. He's got some Shotel warriors and some Gas Kenya just in case any more Kanya horsemen pop out. And what else has just arrived? A car just got there. Oh, the Cannoneers have arrived as well. So now the Ethiopian army is starting to gain some momentum. Boo, meanwhile, making more Aena, sending the War Hut Warrior attack, which is going to boost his Tomahawks and his Aenas by 15%. That is an incredible card. Excuse me. He was able to take out the War Hut, and now Dennis is going to try to target this trading post line. And now with these Cannoneers, he does have a significantly higher amount of siege attack in this army, And I wonder what Boo is waiting for. He's gotten another war hut here, a corral as well. He knows he needs some cav to tank and deal with these cannoneers and these bestieros. But I think Dennis already predicting that, getting more Gaskenya out on the field, and it's looking better and better for Ethiopia. He's certainly not back in the game yet. 29 vills to 44 for Haudenosaunee, but he's certainly doing all he can. He's being proactive. He's not just sitting back and doing nothing. Now we're going to target this second trading post. So he's already gone from 4 to 1. So he's crippled the Haudenosaunee economy substantially, though there is still a big villager lead. And now that the Kanya horsemen are coming out, I think the composition for Boo is going to become really, really strong. We have to remember that these tomahawks and these hyena have been substantially upgraded. And along with these Kanya horsemen, which are already a very strong unit, when the final clash happens, I'm actually not quite sure who will win here. Let's check and make sure Dennis doesn't have any upgrades. No, he does. Why am I looking at H3? No, he does not have any upgrades on his units, though his units are quite strong. A nice villager raid coming in here from Boo, and that's exactly what Dennis cannot have. He cannot go further into a villager deficit at this point, but he is now chasing... I forgot his name for all the... Oh my goodness. He is chasing Boo's army. Okay, there it is. I regained my train of thought. And Boo not wanting to take this fight so close to Dennis's base, I think that's a smart decision. Very, very close reinforcement range here for Dennis. Peeling off some of his Shotel warriors. I think he's going to do what he did a little bit ago. He's going to try to get some raiding in, but actually Boo's done a very nice job keeping his economy very centralized, and he doesn't have a lot of exposed vills to raid. And now look at this batch of Kanya horsemen here. He's got 15 Kanya. That is a huge amount of cav. These guys are really, really tanky. 330 HP. Just brutal. The Shotel warriors, oh, they are getting some villager raids here. I didn't see this exposed hunt, so they actually might be able to close the gap. It's now 47 to 31. But these Kanya are going to quickly come in, and it looks like the engagement is about to take place. Upgraded Haudenosaunee units versus very strong but unupgraded Ethiopian units. Let's see what happens. These cannoneers are going to play a critical role along with the Vestieras. The Gaskenya have to get in position. They cannot let these Kanya get on the flank of his crossbows, but it looks like that's exactly what's about to happen, and the Gaskenya might be able to hold him off, but there's so many Kanya here, and with the hyena and the tomahawks in the back, it is going to be an absolute bloodbath. And we are seeing the strength of the Haudenosaunee Age 2, and this looks like it is going to be an easy win for Boo. We'll see. This might be the GG from Dennis here. Once he loses this army, he knows he cannot come back. He is at a, oh my goodness, he's at a 21 villager deficit, and he knows that the game is over. A very, very well executed classic Haudenosaunee Age 2 rush from Boo. Though I shouldn't call it a rush, because even though he was applying a lot of great pressure and being very, very proactive with his army, he was continuing to build up his economy, even getting a very, very big economic lead. But we'll have to take a look in more detail. Guys, follow me to the post game. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are in the post game, and we can see from the resource distribution, not as bad as you might think given the disparity in villagers between Dennis and Boo. And when you go to the military tab, also very, very close, 113 to 123, though a pretty good advantage for Boo, 110 versus 71 units killed. But I think the timeline is going to be the tail of the tape here. Look at the villager count. Very even, but as soon as that 5 villager card hits for Boo, he keeps a very, very steady villager line. For you new players out there, go to your villager timeline at the end of every game. It should look like this. It should look like a very consistent stair step. This means that you're making villagers constantly. Right? Now, we do have a couple of dips here, a couple of longer delays, but otherwise very consistent. Meanwhile, we look at Dennis's, and granted, he was under an immense amount of pressure, so no shade there, but we see these long periods of no villagers coming out. We don't want these long lines in our villager graph. Now, here it's fine because we're aging up, we can't help that, but you can tell that the Haudenosaunee pressure really had an impact on Dennis, especially in the mid game as both players kind of reached age 2. When we go to the military unit population, we see a couple of nasty fights for Dennis at the early game, and then that final fight, even though he had the advantage in units 70 to 55, the fact that so many of those Haudenosaunee units were those really, really good Kanya horsemen, and the infantry were upgraded, it really wasn't much of a contest. We ended with 53 to 30, and that's when Dennis called it. But still, a great game. I love watching this high-level stuff, and you know what? Haudenosaunee, you did not disappoint. Still a really, really good civ, an excellent civ. So if you're still looking for maybe a native civ that you want to try out and get good with, Haudenosaunee is a great option. But until the next game, guys, have a great day. Have a great life. See you later.